Can the Seattle Seahawks repeat? And are we looking at a dynasty for the Seattle Seahawks?
Here's why I think they can repeat. One, they have a quarterback friendly deal. All the same things I just said about the Bucks remain seen about the Seattle Seahawks. They draft well. They've continued to draft well. John Snyder ain't going anywhere. And this team is young. They've got a lot of young core pieces. Their wide receiver room is ridiculous. And I don't have a reason to believe that this team is going to take a step backward when in all reality, most, if not all of these guys are going to be coming back and they're going to add guys in the draft like they always do. So yeah, I think this team is primed to do that because they've got everybody coming back. They've got a quarterback friendly deal. And why would I think Sam Darnold would take a step backwards now? I got to assume he can at least match what he did and if not get better as he continues on with the confidence that winning a Super Bowl has given him.
Yeah, the Seattle Seahawks can definitely repeat. You look at this defense, right? They're flying around, they're physical, it's full of young guys, right? They're dominant in the trenches. They play together, and you could tell there's a cohesiveness among them, right? Like it's a defense to where they want to share the accolades, right? They all have each other backs. They believe 11 men to the football, but also if you make the play, I'm celebrating like I made the play, right? You can tell that this is truly a family on the defensive side of the football. Then offensively, I'm gonna start with Sam Darnold and go exactly where you just went. Was that listen? This is a young man that had a lot of pressure on him, so he got a Super Bowl now. So now he gets to play stress free the rest of his career. So why can't I believe that he's going to play even better football, right? And then offensively, I think there's even more things that they can do. A full year of having Rashid Shaheed, right, and then getting Cooper Cup into next year and Jackson Smith and Jigba gelling once more. Then a Kenneth Walker getting Zach Charbonnet back healthy. They have young tight end Arroyo, right, that they drafted out of Miami, that they can implement him even more into the scheme. So I think that this arrow is trending up actually for the Seattle Seahawks. I don't think they peaked. I think there's still another level that they can reach. And you've seen in the Super Bowl why people said that this was the most complete football team because they can win whether it's special teams, offensively, or defensively. They have three different ways to win a football game.
You know what? The theme of this show should be draft good players, which in
Yep.
essence is the entire theme of this company, the Draft Network. It's the time to be reading all the scouting reports that Keith Sanchez has spent all this time on, because in all reality, there are teams and organizations that when we look at every draft at the end, we go, yeah, these organizations, we see things the same way. And it's funny, those organizations tend to have a lot of success. They care about drafting the best players at all positions all the time. They're not sitting here trying to play the value game like the media is. They're focusing on getting the best damn player at that whatever position, no matter where they are in the draft. And that's what the Seattle Seahawks have done. Seahawks have put on a clinic of drafting over the last 20 years since John Schneider's gotten there. And so I think this is the theme of this is if you want to be successful, you have to be good from an infrastructure, coaching, drafting, and that matters. And the other person in the division that we look at is Les Snead, a guy who just got an extension. You want to know why? Because he's really damn good at drafting, and he's really damn good at putting a really good football team on the field. And maybe just maybe some of the owners will start to pay attention to that.
I agree with that. And listen, I'm gonna further hit home on your point, right? You want to know why the Seattle Seahawks are on the verge of being a dynasty? Is because in the past 4 years, right, in the four drafts, they drafted guys like Kenneth Walker, Devin Witherspoon, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Derek Hall, Zach Charbonnet, Byron Murphy, AJ Barner, Gray Zabal, Nick Emenwari, Elijah Arroyo. They consistently hit on the draft, right? They get there, they take those draft picks and they turn them into really good football players. So at the end of the day, you're exactly right. You want to be a good football team, you want to turn things around, you want to transition into becoming a dynasty. It's all about drafting good football players at the end of the day. And the Seattle Seahawks, they're on a heater when it comes to drafting good football players.
And those players that you just mentioned, they wasn't
Yep.
one side of the football or a
Both.
position group. It was all over the place. It was offense, defense, the line, special, like everywhere. And then, oh, by the way, during free agency, they go and make a move that impacts their special teams at a high level. So that's what, at the end of the day, the team is what football is about. And owners that are not playing the team game, you're going to sit on the outside for a long time. And you're going to learn the lesson, hopefully, eventually, or maybe never if you're a Jets fan. Sorry.
Yep. So let's do this. Let's talk about the other team that was in the Super Bowl, right? The New England Patriots. The New England Patriots looked outmatched,
Mhm.
right? And I think it's fair to ask this question. When we look back on the New England Patriots making it to the Super Bowl with this roster, Is it fair to say that they were overachievers in the 2025 season?
Um, I don't like the term overachiever, but I don't know what else to say because the reality is they're not going to have a cupcake schedule like they had this year. It's just not going to happen again. You're not going to have all the different things that fell their way this year, whether it's the top quarterbacks all not being in the postseason on the AFC side, with the exception of Josh Allen, a starting quarterback getting hurt, the one seed in the Denver Broncos losing their quarterback right before you play them, CJ Stroud having the worst football game on the quarterback. Like you just in tandem with having a very soft regular season schedule, you're not going to have that, and you're not going to have all the set of circumstances that fell your way on your run to the postseason. So yeah, they took advantage of what happened, but yes, they were overachieving in that this can give you some false hope of where this team actually is when you start to look at who they are coming into next year. You cannot continue to fumble the football at this clip and be a good football team. You cannot continue to let Drake May get sacked at the clip he got clipped at this year and think you're going to be a good football team. This offense is going to have to get better. They're going to have to get better on their roster, and they're going to have to evolve because we all know what happens when you come back, right? It's now we've got tape. Now defensive coordinators are going to come back. They're going to play you a little differently. And I think I believe that Drake May can be great and continue to build off of this. But they left a lot to be desired in this postseason run because if we're being very honest, this offense did not look good the entire postseason.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And if we think that the Seattle Seahawks, or we believe that the Seattle Seahawks are the most well-rounded, the best overall team in the NFL, then I think it was clear that the New England Patriots are a tier below
Mm-hmm.
that, right? When you talk about a talent discrepancy, and I look primarily at the offensive side of the football, you can tell, listen, this wide receiver core, and I'm going to hit on it again, is not the same that you can comp to saying a top five, a top 10. When you're talking about dynamic playmakers, you can tell that they're still missing some guys, whether that be at the running back position, the tight end position, right? They're still missing dynamic playmakers overall. And then you hit on it, the offensive line. That is going to be a big problem. They need to figure out the Will Campbell situation, right? Can he stay at left tackle? Do you kick him inside to guard and then draft another tackle to play there? You need to figure that part out. But this is not sustainable. And they compared it to him on a TV copy, right? As far as the Joe Burrow situation,
I was
you
hoping.
don't want to
Yep.
get into that part when you talk about Drake May and Joe Burrow, because now you're talking about injuries. You're talking about derailing yourself for having opportunities to be competitive in the AFC as far as AFC championships and Super Bowls because your quarterback is not healthy. So I do believe that the New England Patriots were overachievers in the sense of the fact of a lot of things went their way. I think that as far as steps, this year is about taking a step in the right direction as far as the first year under Mike Vrabel. I don't think anybody's expectations were that we would see the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl. I thought that appropriate expectation was, hey, let's get in a wild card, right? Let's get to the divisional round, something like that. Making a Super Bowl was out of expectations, and we know all the quarterbacks that were hurt in the AFC, plus a couple other things falling their way. I don't expect to see them back atop the AFC, but I do expect them to be a solid football team next year.
Yeah, I think if you know Mike Vrabel, and I know him really well, I anticipate that this will not become a situation like the Cincinnati Bengals. Because if you look at
Mhm.
what happened with that team, they still have not committed to protecting Joe Burrow. And it was a problem in the draft. It was a problem in free agency, and it was a problem with the allocation of funds that they have and continue to have. And it is not a winning recipe in the NFL. Letting your quarterback get sacked at the high clip that they did has not worked. They made that Super Bowl run and then have missed the playoffs 4 years in a row. It is that is not how you win, and it's proven by what's gone on both on and off the football field. So I think that what I know of Mike Vrabel, he's very much about the trenches. He's very much about how he has a very good understanding of how to win and win in this league. I anticipate that they will spend a lot of time this offseason, whether it's in free agency or through the draft, in making sure that that offensive line gets significantly better because they're going to have a tough conversation about whether or not Will Campbell can be a left tackle, or they want to bump him in to play left guard. He had a really tough postseason, and his regular season was okay and never at the top level you expected. So they're going to have to look at that whole line and go, okay, what are the changes we need to make? Because you cannot continue to let Drake May get hit like that. It's just not a winning recipe in the NFL.